everything. Every
Mhm.
skill is attached to wellness.
For me was absolutely amazing. It's our
Happy anniversary!
anniversary. Oh my
Yeah,
God, it is our
yes, today.
anniversary. So
Yep.
2 years. Hi, everyone. Shaelene McInnis here with my next podcast and with a wonderful guest. We'll talk about her in a moment. Shaelene McInnis with Books in Line, accounting and taxes, but there's so much more that we do. We focus a lot on wellness, and this is one of the first people I've asked to do a podcast with me because she came right to the top of my mind. Her name is Ella Bates. I have lots to say about her, but I'm going to let her speak about herself first, and then I'll say all my stuff. So, Ella, please introduce yourself.
Shaelene, thank you. It's my absolute pleasure to be on the show today. Well, my name's Ella Bates. I own Ella Bates Corporate Training and also Great Workday Book Clubs and Lean In Circle. I'm not busy enough. I'm also a mum of two, a firewalker, and I'm currently writing a book. But my corporate training business really focuses on giving people the skills they need to succeed and have more happiness in the workplace.
Well, I think that that's wonderful. I have known Ella for many years. I don't even know how many years I've known you for, but
Right.
the best thing that I did was over a year and a half ago. How long has book club been running? Have you
It's
been
2 years
running?
today, Shaelene. I
Oh my
know.
God, it's our
Happy anniversary.
anniversary. Oh my
Yeah.
God, it is our
Yes, today.
anniversary. So
Yep.
2 years. Wow, that's so amazing. I joined, Ella started a book club. And of course, it was right in 2021. So it was right smack in the middle of COVID when everything was shut down and kids were being schooled from home. And it was a tough time for, I
It
think,
was.
everyone. So her starting her online book club for me was absolutely amazing. I had known her already through work stuff and through a lot of networking, and I think I like to talk about wellness a lot now because I think COVID really brought to light how much we need community, and you need to be
100%.
around people and talk to people, and it, just because it was just such a terrible time, and I know people felt very disassociated.
Yes.
So book club was a wonderful thing that Ella started, and I have not missed any book clubs. I love her book club. It's like it's the only reason I look forward to Mondays. Like
Oh, I love
holy,
that. I should use that
like, oh,
tagline.
oh yeah,
Look
it's
forward to
Monday. Okay, well,
Mondays
Mondays
again.
suck, but I do have book clubs. Just like so. I am going to say one more thing and then I'll stop. Yeah, but the one thing that if you've ever met someone and as you get to know them better, and something like book club's a perfect example because it's quite, it's I want to say intimate. You really get to know
It
people on a
is.
personal level. It's wonderful. And then when you get to know someone, you're like, huh, I need to be a better person.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
Well,
not kidding.
we go
I'm
to
like,
anything
huh,
with the word development in it to better ourselves anyway, because indirectly, when you treat others better, we're treating ourselves better because we're treating
so
others like
necessary.
we want to be treated.
Yeah, but it's nice when you know someone. When you meet someone, you're like, wow, this person makes me want to be better and do better. That's the truth because I can be opinionated.
As you have every right to be. It
But sometimes it's nice to learn to, sit
is.
back and do some listening. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to ask Ella a few questions about what she does. Trust me, this is a person that you're going to want to connect with. She's very good at what she does. Exactly what you see is exactly who she is. There's nothing else. Like you don't have to worry about that. This is who this person is. So I'm really glad to have been friends with this person and to have gone through the experience of COVID with someone nice.
Yeah.
So I'd like to talk about what she does because, as you know, Books in Line, I have employees, and I've talked to Ella a lot about this. She knows how I feel about my employees, and you want to make sure that for any business to be successful, you have to invest in your employees, and you should want to. I know that I want to, and I want their lives to be better because they're better, they're happy, I'm happy, we're all successful. So Ella, why don't you tell me, say someone like me who has 8 employees or so,
Yep.
what kind of work would you do to help someone like me or another business, for example, with employees and development skills?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, it's not an easy, pull off the shelf. You need this workshop and everything will be beautiful afterwards. It's about really taking a look at your team and saying, where are we amazing and where are the gaps? I think, Shaylee, you've used this metaphor in the past. It's the holes in the boat. What's going to
Mm-hmm.
take us further down into the water rather than on the top and able to see everything that's amazing? And it's taking a look at what skills are missing. If you
Mm-hmm.
could make everyone perfect in your business, if you could make everyone's happiness level be 100%, if you can make everyone's stress level be at a nice, even keen, and when there is stress, it's the good stress, the stress that motivates you, the stress that keeps you productive, what would that be? And when we take a look at each employee and take a look at the characteristics, the skills, their abilities,
Mm-hmm.
their motivation levels, it's taken a look. What are the gaps? And that's when people call me and say, Ella, we're just not so great at having heated debates. We're not great at always being collaborative. We're not great at being a leader in a way that they need. We're not great at understanding each other. And when you know those gaps, you come to me, and I've been teaching for a long time. I'm really showing my age here, but I've been teaching since 1998. I actually trained as a lawyer and went in a whole different direction, very clearly drawn towards people investment, as you said,
Mm-hmm.
investing time and effort and skills in your people, and I love it. I'm very passionate about filling those gaps, because when we do, we fill ourselves with more joy. We fill ourselves health wise. I mean, you have a big focus on wellness. Every
Mm-hmm.
skill is attached to wellness. If you take the
Mm-hmm.
book club as an example, we've already hit the nail on the head with COVID. We need a
Yes,
community, and
definitely.
it's a biological need, not just our brains. Physically, we need community. We need to feel a sense of
Yes.
connection. The same in the workplace too.
Mm-hmm.
And I very selfishly started book club because I missed people. I missed people's perspectives. I missed conversation around growth and mindset with
Yep.
fascinating people. So I put it out there, and obviously it drew in the exact people that we wanted. And we have a
Yep.
beautiful static crown. We have lots of new people coming in, which is just amazing. And we're
Yep.
celebrating 2 years. This is our 14th book, Shaelene. Can you
I
believe that?
I'm like, it's so funny because you say that you selfishly started this,
I
and
did.
I would never have thought that in my mind. I'm like, it gave back so much, like 2 years. I'm like, of books that I never would have necessarily read. Like, this is the
Right.
truth. I probably would have not, it's not the kind of things that I would read, but now I'm reading them. I've got them on Audible for my walks. It's just that it's, uh, so many of the books that you're covering cover self-care, which is something that I
Yes.
think is so necessary. I had this as a big learning lesson myself during COVID. So I agree with you when you say that, we really need community. And your
Yeah.
book club, I've never been a part of a book club before. And I'm like, I will be here for life. Just keep running
I
this.
hope you do.
I
Thank
get to
you.
be here all
My
the
top
time.
fan.
It is the only reason I look forward to Mondays. The only
I
reason.
love that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that, because, and let's
Yeah.
go back to that community side of thing.
Mhm.
It's not just about reading the books, and you know this, Shailene. You're in the
Yep.
book club, and those listening, if you haven't tried a book club, I massively invite you to go and take a look, because it's not just about reading books or having a good chat with other people. It's being
No.
exposed to other people's perspectives. It's
Yes.
seeing things through the lens of different people's experiences. So let's say that you're a
Yep.
business owner or you're a leader, and
Yep.
we're all true leaders within, wherever you're formally leading people, the amount of inspiration I get from other people, and this happens in my classroom too. It's not the Ella show. It's
Mhm.
not Ella TV time. Da, 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 da.
Nope.
It's
No.
really okay. I have a question. What does everyone else think? And then together we're bouncing ideas, perspectives, experiences,
Yep.
skills, methods, proven things that have worked for us, that have worked for other people we know, and
Yep.
that's a learning experience, because you cannot replace social learning. um, 70% of anything that you learn is not done through reading the book or being in the classroom. Now, people will have a dynamic experience with me. It's interactive. I've been teaching a long time and I love what I
Yep.
do. But
Mhm.
the pure magic comes when you sit and reflect on, well, what does that mean for me? How am I going to apply that to my day-to-day life? How can I help share that with people
Yes.
that I love and I care about, my teams at work, my family, my friendships, other business owner I know? Hey, I learned this great technique from James
Yes.
Clear's
Yep.
Atomic Habits. Sorry, Adam
Oh, I
Grant's.
know. Yeah.
Adam
Yeah.
Grant? It's Adam Grant, isn't it? Atomic Habits.
No, no, no. No, it's James Clear.
It is
No, no,
James.
you're right.
Okay.
It's one of my top 10. One of my top 10 came
I
from
had to
book
think
club.
about that, right?
To get in
So
my top 10 books, it's a big step.
and these are, so it's showing a different view. So when we all go to training workshops, it's the same thing. When you have that 10-minute break and you say, hey Shaelene, what did you think about that particular exercise? Well, I saw it like this. Wow. I never looked through that other lens. And that's what
Yes.
happens.
Yes.
Good learning happens when people get together and say, here's my thoughts, what are
Yeah.
yours? And it opens us up
Yeah.
I mean, we've had tears of laughter, we've had tears of sadness, we've had babies be made in the last 2 years, we've had people get married,
Weddings. I
oh
know.
my gosh, it's been amazing. We've had people move house, people move career,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
like so
There's
much
been
has
lots.
happened
Yeah.
in this group of people, as happens in the workplace too. And we've learned anything from self-leadership to understanding other people. When we did the
Yes.
positive intelligence,
That was a really good one. That was excellent.
Shazad Charmaine. If you haven't read that book, massively encourage you to do that. We really understand yourself and others. So really, it's learning currently cunningly disguised as a book club. It's just it's a collective community place of learning. And anytime, even when you go to the pub with your friends or you go to a cafe and you're putting the world to rights, you're learning together. It's that social community. And that's what we want to do. We're like plants. We want to grow. And in order to do that, we have to nurture each other. And that really answers your question earlier. You're a business owner, you're seeing some gaps. How can you nurture people to have the best life experience and work experience and give your business the opportunity to grow as well as the people growing with it? I mean, that's just beautiful. That's what we should all be doing, right?
I completely agree. You know how I feel about that. Now, Ella knows a lot of my employees and the employees. I don't say my employees. I don't even like that term. The people that fortunately helped me in Books in Line. How's that?
Great people.
The amazing, wonderful people that I'm fortunate enough to work with. So for someone like me, as another example, so what is it that you think, like, what kind of a workshop would you suggest for a person who is looking for maybe ways to empower their employees or ways to find out what they're passionate about and try to work help them find the kind of work that they want to do, that they're passionate about? Could you give me a suggestion about that? Because I have some ideas.
Yeah, I have a very program. It's an online program. It's called Unleash Your Superpowers. It's actually written by a lady called Margaret Dennis. She's a strategic partner of mine.
Yes,
we work very closely
She's one of my favorites. Yep.
She very much goes on the mindset of, really tap into your strengths. So I'm super focused on let's find the gaps, fill in the gaps, right? It's like finding the perfect accessory to the dress that makes you feel fabulous. I'm going to help you with those skills: leadership, communication, conflict resolution, emotional intelligence, productivity. Productivity is somewhere I focus on. But that particular online program, you can find it on ellabates.com. Take a look at our university there, and that helps you to deep dive into what are you really good at, but which one of those things that you're good at do you want to do something with? Because just because we're good at it, it's like laundry. I'm really good at laundry. I don't want to do it every day, Shaelene. Some people do. They love it. If I could do laundry every day, let's go. This is great. So how do you tap into, I mean, you can see if you're watching here with the video, I have a big joy written on my arm as a constant reminder. It's not bringing you happiness. Why are we doing it? Right? That should be a driving factor to everything. So that's one program you can do. But all my training programs are self-reflective. So if we take conflict resolution as an example, and one of the key things I talk about is what's triggering your reaction, and where did that come from, and what are you really good at in disagreements? Are you really good at listening, actively, like really truly listening? Are you really good at clarifying your understanding? Are you really good at opening their eyes to a different perspective? What are you really, really good at? And let's do more of that. And then where are the gaps? And let's fill those in. So indirectly, every training course that I provide is self-reflective. It makes you go, wow, like you said with book club, I want to do that better. or I'm
Yes.
really good at that and I'm validating, I should do more of that. It works really well with my staff,
Yes.
works really
Yep.
well with my peers. And who doesn't want to have a good, easy work day with people we work with? I mean, one of the first questions, catch your mind back, Shaelene, to the first time you ever took a job.
Yeah.
What was your first
Okay.
job, Shaelene? What
Oh
was your
God.
role? Do you
I'd
remember?
say I started, yeah, I was like waitressing and serving 15 years old.
Okay,
Loved it.
15.
Yeah.
And when you went home and you're like, Mom, I did my job today. I
Yeah.
bet you any money she didn't say, how's the job? I bet she said, how are the people you work with?
Yes, that would be
And that's what we
exactly right. They're
always ask
amazing
people.
people. Yeah,
We don't say, and what was your
that's a
to-do
good one.
list like? No
Yeah.
one says that. And how's the equipment to you? No one asks these questions. What are the people like that you work with? So
Yeah.
if you're able to have a great time with the people you work with, understand them, embrace the differences, because there's
Yes.
gonna be that one
Yeah.
person who drives you nuts, but you will learn the most from as well. When we
Mm-hmm.
do that, when we tap into that, is where magic happens. When you
Yeah.
create cohesion, where you create understanding, mutual respect, trust, and
Yeah.
every single one of my programs is around that. What are you doing great? How do I do more of it? And how do I get more skills and tools in the toolbox for when
Yep.
I have a conflict and I can do that better? But you've got to
Yeah.
have a growth mindset to do that. And you need to be able to want to invest in your people.
Absolutely, 100%. Actually, I find that it's funny because you're talking about wanting to invest in people. I find that I I I can't, if someone doesn't have the same values and think like, if you have employees, you have to take care of these people and do the best that you can, because if they're doing well, great, then you're doing well. And
Yeah.
so people who don't have that attitude, where it's more where they're trying to maybe take advantage of their employees, I'm like, wow, we have zero in common. So
Right. It's
if
short term focus, that isn't it, of
a
any
short
business
term
owner.
focus, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. That's not for, yeah, that's a great point. I
And
would
that's
like
why you need
people.
to go into AI. Create a robot for that.
Yeah,
And the AI is great. If you need robots, if
go
you
ahead.
need to have the
Yeah,
Stepford Wise scenario, then go and create that with some robots. But if you want heart, if you want emotion, if you want people who are passionate about
yes,
looking after people's money and
yes,
giving them financial freedom in order to serve more clients, to be able to, give more happiness and joy and a
yeah,
service to other
yeah,
people to make their lives better, is that whole law of reciprocity. I'm sure you could automate so many things.
yeah,
It takes the heart out of what you do. And I'm
that's
sure your
right.
listeners can hear that you and all your staff who have met, I used to have an office with Shaelene,
Yep,
are all very heart-centered people. And you can really tell.
yep, yep, yep. Surround yourself with the right people. I say this
Oh,
all
yeah.
the time. Whenever anyone has said to me, what what great piece of business advice would you say? And I'm always like, surround yourself with the right people. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, your spouse, your intimate partner, your employees, your friends. Surrounding yourself with the right people will lift everyone up, right? And I think of
Well,
that with
not
book
only
club.
that, it's
Yeah,
proximity. I'll
yeah.
give you an example of this, Shailene. So let's say we're in an office environment where we work together,
Yep.
and I'm sat next to, let's call him Bob, is sat next to
Hmm.
me. If he's a high achiever, if he's like,
Hmm.
yes, I did this with this client today, and gets excited about things and does really well, even if I'm not, that's going to rub off on me, because proximity is very powerful. And I'm going to be like, well, I
I
want to feel
agree.
like Bob. I want to finish my day at 5 o'clock and go, yeah, I did that too. So I'm going to start listening into his phone calls and say, well, how do you do that? And indirectly, I'm going to collaborate. Whereas if I'm
Yes.
sat next to someone who's all like, oh, is it only 10 o'clock already?
Mhm.
Ooh, when's lunch break? And, even if
Yeah.
they do a good job, then that's also going to be very powerful. Make me
Yep.
go, oh, yeah, it is only 10 o'clock, isn't it?
One bad apple. One bad
Wow,
apple.
very powerful. So even where you sit in an office has massive power. So if you're wanting to be more excited, very clearly you're going to sit next to someone like me. If you're going to be
Right.
wanting next to someone who's deep and critical thinking, you're going to be sat next to someone like Shailene,
Yeah.
right? You've
Yeah.
got to. This is where placement in an office, placement in friends
Yes.
groups. You go into a
Yes.
restaurant and you can see who wants to bounce off each other. The healthy people want to sit with the healthy people. The
Yeah.
people that love
Yeah.
the ice cream are going to sit with the ice cream folks. The people who like cocktails are going to sit together. It's the same kind of thing. But
Yeah.
proximity is very, very powerful. In fact,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
That's, mm,
psychology. They call it
what is it?
mirror magic. And
Yes. Where you marry the other person by physical. Like
correct.
if someone goes like this, maybe you probably, I
Yeah,
know
and you're
quite a
more
bit about
likely
that.
to.
Yeah.
We pick up from others so very quickly, and like you say, book clubs another example of that.
Perfect example. Yes.
How much deep learn. We've got people who are across the other side of the world as well coming
Yeah.
onto a book club, which is great. It gives
Yeah.
cultural different. We have a
Wonderful.
varied ages. We have entrepreneurs to
Yep.
people who are in high stakes careers. Some who own
Yeah.
their own business. Some who are
Yep.
employees. Some who don't work. Some who are retired. Like
Yeah.
just the proximity of all these different lenses you would never get in a
No.
normal day-to-day scenario unless you put yourself in situations where you're introduced to other people's
Right.
perspectives on purpose. You have to be intentional about this. This is where
Yep.
networking comes in. This is, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Shaelene, you have thousands of clients. Tell me how, I mean, you must hear so many different perspectives on the business
I
world, on the
do.
economy, and how
Yeah.
people are feeling inside about things.
Well,
You know,
COVID, right?
oh,
Most of my clients are self-employed and have their own businesses and have employees. And during COVID, it was March of 2020. And again, we do taxes. This
a
is our
month
business.
later. Oh,
Accounting and taxes and bookkeeping. And we deal with the Canada Revenue Agency for our clients, everything. But yeah, for us, fortunately, I have a wonderful IT department. And within days, suddenly everyone was working from home.
mm,
And of course, we have to have all the security and stuff. But at the same time, then I was like, okay, we have to find a way for us to stay bonded, even though now me and my employees are not in the office.
right.
So I remember I had paint night one night. It was hysterical. It was online paint night, an absolute riot. So we started doing some online stuff just because I think when you're physically apart, and
Mm,
people went through hard times, anxiety and depression and sadness and loneliness. So finding ways to bond, and that's the work that you're doing with your training. Really, to me, seems it's always like finding ways to bond with other people, even though you may
yes,
disagree with whatever, but doesn't matter. You can still learn to listen. That's something I've learned. So
right.
yeah, I'm just so everyone knows, I will be including all of Ella's information, contact information. We'll have it with the podcast so that you'll be able to reach her directly. But if for some reason you can't, you can always call Books in Line, call the office, and we are glad to put you together with Ella. I cannot say how much benefit you would get from working with someone like Ella. She's absolutely amazing.
Thank
She
you.
has just some great insight, things you won't even think of. So I highly recommend at least join one of her book clubs. Like it's the best thing.
We love it. It's the
we
Mutual Appreciation Society for readers.
we do
And it
love it.
creates accountability for reading. Shaelene, I remember that you said you've now
Yes.
got to the point where you're scheduling in time
Yes.
to read. Like, how frequent do we think I've
Yep.
not learned anything new for the last year because I've just been on
Yep.
this hamster wheel?
Yes.
Whereas we're intentional about it, which I think is a beautiful
Well, I
thing
love
to do.
scheduling it in. I think that's brilliant. And again, for 2 years, I've been part of book clubs, so I've been reading the books. But before that, I had stopped reading physical books. I love to read. Like I forgot how much I love to actually read physical books. So it was very nice to get back into that again. Thank you.
So glad.
So I'm hoping anyone who would like to reach out to Ella, please do so. I so recommend it. She has just some really great ideas and great insight onto keeping you and your staff, if you have staff, keeping you centered and being a good leader, not being a manager, being a leader.
Mm.
There's a huge difference. And Ella has certainly helped me with that. That's it. Anything else, Ella? Any final words or?
Well, one thing I'd say, with any kind of skills development, it's wellness directed. Whatever,
Absolutely.
I invite all of you listening or watching right now, take a look. What are you learning right now? What are
Mm-hmm.
you listening to? Take a look on social media. What information are you taking in? Who you sat next to at work? Do you want to sit next to Bob and get excited? Do you want to sit next to Shaelene and be creative? Take a look
Yep.
at that because when you find the gaps
Yeah,
is where you find the magic because you can really develop that. It's like going to Home
that's
Depot
right.
and filling up your toolbox with that great hammer and the spanner, right? It's the same thing. It's time to take a look at filling the holes in the boat because we all deserve and we all desire a better life. More happiness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Ella, thank you so much. To
My
everyone
pleasure.
listening, I hope you got something from this. Every time I speak with Ella, I get something from it. So I hope you reach out to her. She's worth it, worth every single bit. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ella, for being a guest. I appreciate it very, very much. Thank you.
My pleasure.